Alright, so this is our Sailing 1 guide, real quick. So, Sailing 1 is our basic course, the basic stuff that you need to learn to become a sailor on a ship. So the first things we're going to talk about are these big wooden poles on our ship called the mast. We have three primary ones that we use on these types of ships, and three terms for them each. The front one is known as the foremast. The middle one is known as our main mast. It's also the tallest on the ship. If I can get an angle on it, but the mizzen is our backmost, and those are our three primary sails. Each sails have yards they have next to them that we can climb up or go aloft to go and set the sails that are on the mast themselves. And they also have yards or not yards, my bad, braces, where we can use to change how the sails are directioned and which direction they are. So this is how we change sail positioning, which I'll get a bit more into later. For now, we're going to talk about the different types of sails. Or the different sails in general. The square sails are our big square sails on the ship. As you can see, we have two set on our middle or main mast. And in order, they go the mainsail, the topsail, as you'll see by the prompt, the topgallant sail, and the royal royal sail. So as you can see, those are our square sails, and this is the same order as, say, on the foremast. They don't change based off the mast. The other sails I'm going to talk about real quick are the ones in between the mast or off the mast. So as you can see in the middle here, we have a bunch of sails in between the mizzen and main and fore. These are all triangular shape when they're set, as I'll show you real quick actually. As you can see, they're kind of like a weird triangle shape. But the important thing about these is they're known as divine sails, along with the next two I'm going to talk about. But they're known as staysails. The other two divine sails that I'm going to talk about real quick are the spanker, which is off of the mizzen. It's not connected to anything, as you can see. It's more important in sailing two merit, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. Just know the name of it. And up front, connecting from the bowsprit to the foremast, we have the jibs, which are also very important in sailing two. Not going to get into it. So the only other one that I will talk about real quick, and stuff that we don't really use super often, are the studding sails. So the studding sails are little sails off the side of these that you can see. They come out from these little poles that extend here, and so they provide us speed, but they rip extremely easily under high wind. So basically, you're not going to be using studding sails uh, unless you're trying to catch up to somebody, or unless the wind is really low, like below 13 or 14 knots. Alright, so now that we're done with sails, we're going to talk about sail positioning, which I mentioned earlier. And the way we change sail positioning, as I mentioned, is using our braces. So I will show you our sail positioning using, well, let me turn the ship a bit, but using our main mast, which I have some stuff set here. So, right now, as you can see, we are currently catching a lot of wind in our sail now that I've done this. See, we're at 2 knots of wind. So this is what we call trimming. Trimming is putting as much wind behind and going into the back of the sail as possible. And what this does is it provides a lot of speed for us. So the next thing we're going to talk about, and kind of what I think of as the opposite of trimming, is what we call shivering a sail. It means we're not putting any pressure, no wind in it at all. So this can be seen as it going parallel to the wind, as you see here. It can also be shown in game. If you want to look at it in game, you can see it's completely flat. There's no wind going into this at all. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a backing. A backing is putting as much wind into the front of the sail as possible, as you can see. It's not really good at this angle, but it'll look shivered, but it'll be pushing you backwards a bit more. So you'll see if I just shiver, we're not going to be going, which is not right there, not quite. It's like right there. Let's see if I can get this purple. Alright, you'll see that we're not going to be able to change much right here. But basically it's going to force you backwards is what a backing is going to do, and putting as much wind into the front of it's going to do for you. That is all you need to know for sailing 1.